Alright, here's a video of my vintage TV collection. Well, most of it. The rare occasion that it's all in one place. And I got a couple TVs hiding down there. I'll start over here. So that's a Sylvania with the 7-inch electrostatic tube. I haven't restored that one yet. It might almost be worth more if I just leave it alone. That's the only TV I have that I haven't restored yet. That's a 1956 General Electric GE. That one has a strong picture tube. That one works really well. I got this Emerson this year at a flea market. It's I forget the year, but the tube is pretty good. It's like maybe 60%. And that one I just did a quick resurrection. I didn't do a full restore. We got this. What is this? Philco. It's got a really nice chassis. Actually, it works pretty good. The CRT's very weak on the tube tester. It tests like pretty much zero, but it does make a picture. It would make a really good picture with a good tube. We moving on. We got this. I don't know what this is. Something ugliest TV ever. Unrestored, but works well. This is a. What is this thing again? There's no badging on it. It was like High Point maybe or something. I believe this is also like 56. That's kind of a shame. That's in the safety glass. It's not as bad when it's running because most of that is just a shadow. Actually, like this all down here is a shadow. The actual little mark is right there. Then we got a General Electric 10BP4. The chassis is excellent. The tube is kind of weak though. It really needs a better tube. Moving on, we got the Admiral. Well, I guess I lied. I guess not all of them are restored. This is unrestored, but it works. Pretty much original. I think there's a few replacement components, but I got it. Brought it up on the Variac, and it works pretty well. It just has. This is the TV with the one silver mica capacitor in it that it needs to be changed. It's a little flaky. I'm going to get to that. This is Motorola. Can I open this right now? I don't feel. Yeah, I don't feel like opening it. You've probably seen those. Those are the Motorola portable. It's working. Mediocre tube. Works mediocre. Then we got the House Crafters down there. Good tube. Good chassis. Works well. What else do I got in here? I got old PS1. We got the tube B&K tube tester. We got a Sony Watchman in box. We got an old radio controller. And this Hitachi is pretty cool. This is new in box. It's got a it says 9-inch, but I think when I open it up, it's an 8-inch CRT, and the color on this thing is fantastic. It is absolutely awesome. Moving on, we got some old radios. What do they call those? Breadbasket radios. Got the B&K. Open. Yeah, this is my favorite tube tester. I think I got the other the other one, but this one is a little more mellow on the rejuvenation. This amplifier is pretty sweet. It's a little like boutique amplifier. It kicks, man. This thing, for its size, it sounds pretty good. I left the tubes all dusty, but I did recap it, rewire it a little bit, and I just love that speaker that's in there. And I like the way this thing smells with the dusty tubes when it warms up. This monitor's pretty cool. It's a Zenith monitor. It's virtually like new. Green phosphor. What else do I got? In this bag is a movie theater projector from like maybe like the year 2000 or something about. It needs a board. There's a couple boards in there and it's missing one, but that would be cool to get working one day. Some radios. This tube has got a it's not a 10 BP4, it's a, I forget what it is exactly. It's like a, maybe I can get some light. Hold on a second. It's a 10 VP7 and it's green phosphor, long duration with fast blue. So it's kind of interesting. So we'll do like a fast blue, and then there's the green will stay for a while. So it makes a pretty trippy picture. Let's see, these are kind of cool. This is like an old school video effects board, like a real-time video editor for analog. And then let's see here, I got a box of different meters, and this thing is pretty cool. I want to restore this. I have a good power supply for it. It's like a receiver, but it goes down to 100 kilohertz. It goes up to, what do we got? So 200 to 400. Oh, is that gonna turn? Whoa! I thought that was easier. I need some lubrication. So let's see here, 10 to 20 megahertz, but it goes all the way down to 100 kilohertz. So I kind of want to get a long wire and get this thing going and just see what kind of noise is out there. I got some more stuff over here, some kind of cool. This thing is nice because it reads very low ohms. Like it'll read the ohms on like a 16 gauge wire that's like 5 feet long. Like you can read the ohms on it really low. Just a capacitor tester. This thing I just thought looks cool. Works. This thing is nice because it can read very high resistance. Like it could read the resistance of the insulation between two wires. Just a signal generator. that thing's pretty nice. It's just I like the giant gauge on there. Color generator. I thought that was cool looking. It mostly works. They're a little, the old tube color generators could be a little frustrating to fine tune at times. Let's see here, what else we got up here. Got an old Sony vacuum tube camera. This is also a vacuum tube camera. This is a TV amplifier. So this would be like, you know, in between the antenna and the TV, and it'll amplify a little bit the signal. I got one of these old Sony black and white portables. So I got calculator. I just put these gauges in this box so it can go down to pretty low amps, RF amps. This is a IBM monitor, and I only had the monitor, and I had to paint it because it was so grody. I tried the hydrogen peroxide and sunlight and UV light, more hydrogen peroxide, but it was just not cleaning up. When I got it, it was basically brown. I cleaned it, and it was still like the edges were still like black and brown, and the plastic was starting to the texture on the plastic was starting to disappear, and I was like, oh, and I had it on the bench and it wasn't working. I think there was something wrong with the horizontal transistor, and I dropped it, and there's a transformer in there, and all the plastic just crunched and broke, and it was so brittle, and I was like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So what I did was I took one of those 5-inch black and white TVs, and it turned out the socket on the end of the CRT, you know, like those real cheap CRTs you see in Goodwill everywhere, TVs you see in Goodwill everywhere, and I took the board out of that, and I put it in there, so it has video input, and it actually worked. I just had to adjust the focus coil a little bit. Not the focus coil, it's not coming to me right now, but I was able to get it to fill up the whole screen, and so it's actually kind of, I don't know if you'd say useful, but it's kind of easier to put whatever video you want into it, because you don't need the computer, which I don't have. So this is a like a distortion analyzer, and it's kind of well, I remember using it once. It's not coming to me right now. I can't remember much about it. But there it is. Let's see what else we got. The heaviest oscilloscope with the tiniest CRT. This thing is a beast. It works, but it weighs like 100 pounds. No, maybe not, but it weighs a lot. Let's see. It's actually missing a couple of knobs. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a lot of knobs on this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 knobs on this thing. Not the most usable, but it's kind of nice that you can just go right into the deflection or the tube. I got an amplifier back there that I'm gonna fix up eventually. Let's see, we got a polar not ham radio transmitter. I haven't gotten into that yet. And this thing is kind of cool. It's a telephone tester, and you can hook up two telephones to it and talk through it and make them ring and all that good stuff. Let's see here. This is one of those Echo Tremolo, Teleray Echo Tremolo devices. It's got a disc in there, a metal disc about 3 inches, and it's a delay, so it's like an echo reverb delay thing. I have 3 of these different units with discs in them, and they are pretty interesting because the guy that made them, he's dead, I guess, and nobody really knows exactly what process he used to make these discs. And I've been trying different experiments to try to kind of duplicate it or copy it. And it's kind of like a record player, but instead of a needle, it has 2 rubber wipers or 3 rubber wipers, so like a write and read. And then the disc is spinning with the motor, so there's a delay. And the whole thing is like in an oil can, so it's like if you were to look for it, it'd be like Echo Reverb Teleray oil can. And there's a couple of videos on YouTube about it, like Uncle Doug that restores amplifiers and builds amplifiers. He's got a couple good videos on it. Let's see here. That's pretty much all I have in storage here. We'll move on to. Oh, here's one of my other ones that I plan on restoring, and I actually built another chassis, and I like the whole metal chassis. It's in this box and a couple discs and oil and stuff, and I'm gonna get to that eventually. I got a workstation. I'm gonna put a countertop in there eventually. We got some signal tracer. This thing is awesome. You can test the direction of capacitors, like the outside foil end, the negative end of film caps, and all you do is you just hook your capacitor up and then touch it and then flip it, and whichever buzzes less is the negative, and that's the outside foil end. And it'll test down to like pretty tiny, you can test the outside foil end of like even the smallest of these capacitors. I got a transistor gain tester, some stuff. This thing is pretty awesome. This is the signal TV alignment tool, a signal generator for aligning TVs. So you send a signal into the into the tuner of the TV, and then you take the output before the video amp, and you look at the waveform, and you can align the TV. And yeah, this thing has got it's kind of interesting for the sweep. It's got a thing called a wobulator, which is like a little motor which makes a sweep. And this thing works pretty well on what was I gonna say? It doesn't work very well on series string electrostatic sets. Like I tried using it for that Motorola, but I just barely could get it to work. But if it's like an Admiral with a transformer, it works great. Let's see here. I got 3 of these guys. They go up to 600,000 kilohertz audio signal generator. They're pretty handy, pretty nifty. We get a just another ICO signal generator and a Hewlett Packard. Goes up to 500 megahertz oscilloscope. And this was my little experiment. I just wanted to see if I could make so this one's hooked up to the horizontal. Well, I blew this transistor. I need to get a new transistor, otherwise I'd turn it on for you right now. But basically my thought was this would be hooked up to the horizontal, and when it is, this basically goes back and forth at the 60 hertz, and then this is going to spin at 4 divided by 15,000 hertz, or yeah, 4 divided by 15,000 hertz, so like 3,500 RPMs. But I think I'm going to have to go with 8, because basically this would put out a 90-degree deflection, and it would be I'm trying to make a video laser projector, basically, out of one of those really cheap TVs. And so this part works good. This part not so well, because it's too wide. So I would need to make it I think 8-sided. And then I don't know if it would actually sync with the frequency, because I mean the RPMs would have to be absolutely perfect. Like, I was thinking of using a brushless motor with a Hall sensor, so I can get the dial and the RPMs really, really perfect, because they would need to be perfect. And I'm not sure with like the sync pulses and stuff if this would work at all. But I was trying it. And then the other problem is I would need to get the video signal into this laser, which is kind of maybe beyond my understanding right now. I was looking at the video signal on the scope, and it looks like a mess. I was trying to come right off the cathode and power the laser. That wasn't really working, so I think I need to come off of maybe like the video amp. It might need another amplifier, and a lot of time and effort into maybe a circuit that would pulse this laser for the brightness. So you'd have the brightness, horizontal and vertical, and then it would make a projector image. But I didn't realize that how much brightness you lose just from spinning. Just when this thing spins up and it draws the line, it does lose quite a bit of brightness. So I might have to, I have other lasers. I could power this one a little bit more. Not sure if that's going to work. That was just whatever, experiment. This is that power supply I want to use for that giant radio receiver that goes down to 100 kilohertz. This power supply is pretty awesome because it goes up to 500 volts, and it's got a 6 volt 10 amp and then a 150 negative bias. So you could just about run, you could run like a whole amplifier, pretty big amplifier with it. And it's also got, where is it? Unregulated. And I hooked like a 40 watt candle light bulb up to it on the unregulated side, and I was just able to turn it up, and it just blew the light bulb. Like, it's got quite a bit of juice. This thing is... Ooh, yikes. This thing is my tube tester that I absolutely love. It's my only tube tester, but it's the only tube tester that I've ever needed for pretty much anything. I would compare this to that like that military Hitchcock one. This thing has never not tested a tube for me, and it's been accurate. If it says that your tube is 20%, chances are it's not going to work in the circuit. And where is it? Here. I have all the documentation for it. Which one is this? Yeah, old tubes, miniature tubes, regular tubes, tube straighteners, list of tubes. You got shorts, different plate. Sorry about the low lighting and it's not focusing. Different plate voltages, filament pin selector, G1 meter, filament, and then it's got this here, which was I was going to put it into this, so I could do Compactron, and you can also test picture tubes with it, and I have tested picture tubes with it. And yeah, this thing is accurate. Let's see here, what else have I got? Some random tubes. I gotta organize the stuff. This shouldn't be in here. This is a, what the hell is this thing again? I forgot what it was. It's, not a Klystron. It's like something like that. It's like a giant switching tube. It's filled with hydrogen, and it'll switch like I forget how many amps, like a lot of amps, like hundreds or maybe even like 1,000 amps at like 1,200 cycles a second. This is one of those 5-inch spares for I have a projector set. It's not here. It's not at this house right now. But this would be this is a 25,000 volt black and white CRT, and I actually have one of these with a fast blue phosphor, and then I have another one, a new old stock, that's in the TV. But the TV needs a flyback. I've got a tube caddy, this military signal generator, which is kind of nice. It goes up to 400 megahertz, and it does, I don't really know what it does, but you could put an audio signal into it and hook the output up to like a wire, and it'll basically be just like a little radio station. It's got quite a good output. Boxes of tubes. Let's see here, what else I got. Turn this light on. Sony TV. This thing has got incredible reception. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Just a case of random stuff. We got a Apple II that'll run DOS 6.2, and a Macintosh I pulled out of the garbage, and this thing works. It had a stuck hard drive, but literally just popped the cover on the hard drive and moved the wiper, put it back together, and it booted right up. Let's see here. This is my RC Savage, and it used to be a gas truck. I got a camera here. It has infrared lights. Where's the other? Another infrared light. And yeah, that camera will work. Color at night, it'll switch to black and white, and it'll actually kind of be color at night too. It's sometimes. But yeah, with the infrared lights, I can drive this thing around at night. This drumstick that's hose clamped onto the frame is the antenna, and it doubles as if this thing flips over. Well, it basically can't flip over with this drumstick. And if it does get on its side, you can just hit the gas. These tires will balloon up, and it'll right itself pretty much. It's a mess. I have a 3D printer. I think I might go over it and completely reprint some stuff for this mess. This is basically the video amplifier, and it just transmits to the old TV channels. So I could be sitting inside the house, have this thing outside, turn my TV on inside, turn it to, channel 13 or whatever, because you can choose any channel on here. But there are channels that are resonant to this antenna. And I got an amplifier in here that's like a wideband to 1,000 megahertz, so it's fine for any channel. And this is just one of those cheap analog, what do you call it? Video, not amplifiers. What's the use for it again? I don't know. You can find it on Amazon or eBay. Like, when you want to go from AV cable to RF for like an old TV that doesn't have the one of those. And I got a microphone on there. It's got 2 op amps. So I have 2 op amps in series with the microphone on the end. And this thing can hear, like, when I put it outside, I could hear like the neighbors like 2 doors down with that. Like, that's how sensitive. If it's in the house with the TV on and the volume is at like 10, it'll feed back to the TV. Like, it is crazy sensitive. It's got a 6S, I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 milliamp battery, and then it's got another 3S battery right here. Castle Creations speed controller. I have a Castle Creations motor, but right now it's got like a helicopter motor in it or something like that, but it kicks pretty good. This thing will pull wheelies, no problem, and pull stuff around. I just slapped, this was like from a different truck. I slapped a bumper on the bumper just to protect it a little bit. I got this thing for $60 at a RC store. Yeah, it had the engine, chassis. It was, someone's like, someone really loved this thing to put all these metal A-arms and stuff on it. And yeah, it's a pretty solid unit. And I even I even ran this thing. I was driving it around a pond at night, and it was in the woods, and it was like, I don't know, I was probably like almost a quarter of a mile away. I was sitting in front of my TV, and this thing was about a quarter of a mile away from me in the woods at night near a pond, and the water was shallow, and I was creeping by, and it kind of sucked me in, and this thing went underwater, went in the water. Well, it took a minute or two, but pretty much, yeah, it went all the way in the water, and I lost video. It eventually, waterlogged. I was trying to get out, and it lost video. Went out there, found it, brought it back. Believe it or not, drained the water. Well, and I had the phone recording the TV, and once I grabbed it and the water drained from this box before I was even able to turn it off, the video signal came back. And after I got it home and it dried, it started working again, which is pretty incredible. Look at all that mess of wires and electronics, because there's resistors, there's a lot of RF, there's this amplifier is pretty sensitive. It cannot go over 12 volts, and yeah, and it still managed to work. Um, it's got a brake on it too. I got a servo for a brake. It has two steering servos that are linked on the same channel, so the steering is really strong. So yeah, when this thing is out there, it means business. Um, and then the radio has got an amplifier on it too. But actually, the video signal, the radio will lose, but will be gone before the video signal, because the video signal's at like 100 megahertz or maybe 150 megahertz. Well, I try to stay off of, like, obviously 120. That's airplane. So I try to find a spot where it'll be maybe less noticeable, but yeah, it's probably a little bit illegal. Try to keep it on, known property type of thing. But and then the radio is 2.4 gigs. So even though the radio goes pretty far. I mean, I'd say it goes, if I'm outside, I think the radio goes a couple miles. But indoors, they about equal out, or the camera and the radio is about the same. Um yeah, that is pretty much a tour of what I got going for my electronics right now. And yeah, I just moved into this house, so I kind of want to probably end up redoing this setup again. I have one big long countertop that I want to get down here eventually. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up as far as all my electronic endeavors.